Gold's grip on India, why we import hundreds of tons, what RBI holds, and how to become self-reliant. 2026 reality. Gold has been part of Indian culture for thousands of years. But what exactly is 24 karat, 22 karat, or 18 karat gold? 24 karat gold is almost pure, 99.9% pure gold. It is soft and mainly used for investment bars and coins. 22 karat gold is 91.6% pure gold mixed with copper, silver or zinc. This is the standard for most Indian jewelry because it is stronger while still high purity. 18 karat gold is 75% pure and more common in Western jewelry. Gold starts as or mined from the earth. It is refined to pure form and then carefully alloyed to create different carats. India produces only about 1.5 tons of gold from its own mines every year, almost nothing compared to what we consume. India is one of the world's largest gold consumers. In financial year 2025 to 26, India imported approximately 721 tons of gold worth a record $72 billion. Volume was slightly lower than the previous year, but the value jumped sharply because of record high prices. Where does this gold come from? Switzerland is the largest source, roughly 40%. The UAE follows with over 16%, then South Africa around 10%, followed by the United Kingdom and the United States. Much of this gold is refined in Switzerland and the UAE before reaching India. Gold is India's second largest import, after crude oil, and a major reason for pressure on our current account deficit. The Reserve Bank of India holds around 880 tons of gold as of early 2026, one of the highest levels in recent decades. A large portion is now held inside India after several years of repatriation. Roughly 680 tons are stored domestically, while about 200 tons remain abroad, mainly with the Bank of England and the Bank for International Settlements. Gold now forms a significant and growing share of India's foreign exchange reserves. Indians buy roughly 1.5 to 2.5 tons of gold every single day on average, depending on the year and prices. In the first quarter of 2026 alone, demand was 151 tons. Even when high prices reduce the quantity bought, the money spent keeps rising. Jewelry demand has weakened, but investment demand through bars, coins and ETFs has grown strongly. This continuous buying has two major effects. It keeps pressure on India's trade deficit and current account, and it locks large amounts of household savings into a non-productive physical asset instead of banks, stocks or businesses. Estimates suggest Indian households and temples together hold between 25,000 and 35,000 tons of gold, more than the official reserves of the top central banks combined. A large part of this gold stays locked for generations as family jewelry. While some is recycled or used for gold loans, the majority remains outside the formal economy. This represents enormous idle capital. If even a fraction could be productively used, it could reduce import pressure and support investment. Complete self-sufficiency in gold is extremely difficult because India has limited high-grade deposits that are easy to mine. Current domestic production is only about 1.5 tons a year. What India can realistically do? Accelerate responsible domestic mining and exploration of known resources. Strengthen the gold monetization scheme, so more household gold comes into the banking system. Promote sovereign gold bonds and gold ETFs as better alternatives to physical gold. Improve recycling infrastructure. Increase jewelry exports to partially offset imports. Build long-term financial awareness so gold is not the only preferred savings instrument. These steps will not eliminate imports overnight, but they can sharply reduce vulnerability to global price shocks and geopolitical disruptions. In 2026, the conflict involving the United States and Iran disrupted the Strait of Hormuz and pushed global oil prices sharply higher. For India, higher oil prices immediately increased the import bill, put pressure on the rupee, and raised inflation risks. Gold, being a safe haven asset, also saw elevated prices for much of the period. Because India imports both oil and gold in large quantities, the dual pressure on the current account became visible. The RBI had to intervene heavily in the foreign exchange market to support the rupee. This episode clearly showed how external geopolitical shocks can amplify the economic cost of India's gold dependence. Gold will always remain culturally important in India. The goal is not to abandon it, but to manage its economic impact wisely. By increasing domestic production where possible, monetizing idle household gold, shifting more demand toward financial gold products, and reducing overall import dependence, India can protect its economy better, whether there is peace or conflict in the world. Understanding the numbers is the first step toward smarter policy and smarter personal choices.